What is going on, everybody? My name is Jay. This is Unplayable, and today you are stuck with probably the best host on Unplayable as the host for our podcast, the Energy Conservation Lab or Conversation Lab. Yeah,
Even you're
Conversation Lab.
doing it.
It's definitely not Energy Conversion Lab.
No.
As long as it's not that, I think we nailed it. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, so welcome back to episode something like 30? 35?
I think we're 35 right now.
35.
It's both like that's a lot, but also I feel like we've been doing this for a while and we're only at 35.
Yeah, we skipped a few weeks there, but how many weeks are in a year?
52.
52. So we haven't even hit a year worth of podcasts, but we've been doing this for a year. Which, to be fair, I think kind of when the game came out, we were still doing just the Unplayable podcast, and this is our SWU specific. So you gotta take those other ones into account, I think, as well. But yeah, thank you for joining us for number 35. And today, for us, while we're recording, is St. Patrick's Day. As you can see, Mike has his green hat on. I have nothing green hat on.
Yeah,
because I am a slacker and I have to walk across my hallway to go to work, and I didn't think about having to dress appropriately. In fact, all of my days just kind of run together. So I didn't even realize it was St. Patrick's Day until he said something about it.
Well, everybody can pinch you in the comments below.
Exactly. I don't have to worry about going anywhere because I work from home and none of my co-workers can pinch me. So I'm safe.
Taking the easy way out.
Exactly. So recently we did a live stream. I just want to do a quick shout out. Thank you for all of the people that came to our live stream. It was big. It was the release day for Set 4 Jump to Lightspeed. We had an absolute blast doing that. It was so much fun. So thank you for everybody who stuck with us through the technical difficulties. I think with every live stream, we're getting closer to like just really getting a high quality, nice live stream going.
Mm-hmm.
So expect that we and this isn't a promise, but expect more live streams coming in the near future, and a little more, maybe not consistently, but more frequently than we have done before. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that.
I think we're gonna try and do every other Friday. So that's our goal. If we hit it, we hit it. We don't. We'll see if it's still fun for everybody the next time we do it, and we're just gonna keep it rolling if it's fun. So
I'm really curious. Yeah, it was so much fun. Even with the technical stuff we had, it was like a blast to just hop in, play some games, talk to the community about what's going on and all the different stuff. So that was a good time. I am curious to try doing a live stream that would be like later in the evening and see what the like statistics or analytics of like how many people are more free to watch during the workday. Because you would think during a workday you would get less viewers, but on the same side of the coin, it's like everyone's sitting at their desk and they have time to sit there and watch you.
Yeah, especially if it's on a Friday. People like to take their Friday easy, have it on in the background while they're doing other work, or maybe they're off on Friday, or mentally checked out.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I do. So yeah. I don't watch streams nearly as much after I get done with work.
It's before people, have to go home and do family stuff. They can, they have the time to sit and pay attention to something. It's just not the thing that they're working on.
Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah.
So,
and then you have the real degens that watch streams between like 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. because they just stay up all night, which I used to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was good. Was there anything other updates to hit people with since the last time we did a podcast?
Oh man, I don't know. This is not my job on this podcast, so
it's not mine either.
I notoriously have the worst memory of all time, just when it comes to everything. And so there could very well be stuff that we're supposed to talk about that I just completely forgot. It's exited my brain.
Yeah, well, so now seems like a good time. We'll plug this in again at the end, but since we got you here, join our Discord.
Do that.
Like us on X. Find us on Facebook, whatever.
A link in the description to join our Discord. Yeah, subscribe to our channel. If you find this interesting, you're not already subscribed, you should definitely do that. If you're listening to this, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel for sure.
Yeah, chances are you probably already are, but
actually, if you're listening to this on Spotify or something like that, make your way over to YouTube And check us out on there, because the fewer people that listen on Spotify, the more justified I am in just deleting it and only doing YouTube, and then I won't keep forgetting to post it on Spotify.
Well, that alone is going to get people coming here commenting, do not delete it to Spotify, because that's the only way I listen to you guys. So
that's A plus S tier engagement farming right there is what that is.
Yep. Yeah, so there you have it. You ready to dive into our topics this week, Coach?
Yeah. So I took notes over the last week, because we're really bad at actually covering the things that happened in the previous week. So I was like, let me just write down some of the things that I think about Star Wars Unlimited over the course of the week, and then I don't have to remember, because I already remembered it.
And you'll be able to tell from what we talk about today, these are like weeks old topics, because we never covered them.
Because we never talked about them on the show before. But we're doing it now.
Yeah. All right. So topic number 1, and we're not going to pop it up because that's too much effort, but the participant playmat that you get.
If you haven't seen this yet,
you need to look it up.
I can't imagine you haven't seen it yet, because it's just so
such a
big.
Meme.
The participant is so big on the mat, you can't miss it.
But let's talk about the mats in general, but let's highlight the participant thing.
Yes.
All right, so the mat we're talking about, look it up. It's the regional qualifier participant mat, and it's got the executor on it, right? That's what the executor.
I believe so.
And it is what you get just for showing up, and it has in the bottom left regional qualifier.
I'm sorry, it's not the bottom left. It's the bottom third.
The bottom quadrant.
The bottom half.
The mat. It says regional qualifier, and in big text, participant. I mean, it goes past halfway from the left to the right.
It's massive on there.
It's huge. And then someone took this, memed it, and made a mat that was just participant all the way up.
That's the one that I want.
It's So what do you think about this, Coach? Does the graphic designer team at FFG need to be fired yet?
Well, I think someone needs to have a conversation with whoever is approving these, because it's just not necessary, I think. Okay, aside from the participant one, I don't know if we've talked about the other ones before, but they went from basically just like the Star Wars Unlimited logo, really small event exclusive logo, really small Gamegenic logo on the bottom, to giant logos across the whole mat on all 4 corners. They're not always the padding's not always the same between them, so I feel like there's something weird going on there.
Yeah, so that's a bigger picture about the playmats. So we'll hit on the participant thing in a second, I guess. But one, they need to adjust the padding needs to be exactly the same around all corners of the mat.
Yeah, otherwise
that is graphic design 101.
My OCD can't handle it otherwise.
It's so bad. It's terrible. And then you look at the freaking Star Wars Unlimited initiative token icon, which I don't understand why that's even a thing. That's your initiative token. Why is that you're an icon? That's
also the
Star Wars
logo
Unlimited.
for
But it's not really
no.
It's not. So what is the point of it? And it's huge, and it's not transparent, so it covers up more art of the card. It's terrible. I hate it. Get it off of there. You can just really put Star Wars Unlimited anywhere on the mat in smaller text. And you don't Star Wars is so iconic. You don't need to advertise, hey, this is a Star Wars card game.
Yeah.
People know.
100%. I mean, the thing that I liked about the previous mats is even if you got them from something cool, you won it at an event at Gen Con, or even the content creator mats that we have now, it's sort of a if you know kind of thing, which I think is so much cooler, and makes it adds that era of I don't know, intrigue of where'd you get that mat? Mm-hmm. If I see your regional participant mat, I know where you got it.
Yeah, 100%.
Are we going to get content creators mats that just say content creator gigantic across the bottom?
I surely hope not. That would be terrible. But I totally agree with your assessment. And if you compare this to something like Fortnite, Sea of Thieves video games, in Sea of Thieves, you get sales that are different skins for your sales, and there's different ways you can get that, and unless you know the way to get it, then it's just like a cool sale. But then the people that know that you spent 2,000 hours grinding to get this sale, it's like, oh, that dude put the time in, put the work in. It's so much better than having this like regional qualifier thing. Another, I think I've said this before, but like this regional qualifier one, for example, I would be fine with them having the little icon thing, like it's filled in based on which like event, right? So like regional qualifier is the like second one below like worlds, so it's got 3 of the rings filled in there. Like, but get rid of the regional qualifier part. Like you don't need to have that like part. You have it on self-evident. Yeah, it's so stupid. And then it also says regional qualifier participant. Like why do you have the same 2 words on the mat?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. We bring this up because we haven't talked about it on the podcast yet. And we obviously have strong opinions. So
yeah,
we have.
And this isn't the type of stuff that D House or Jim care about. Okay, let's be honest. They don't care about the way these. D House is just gonna sell this mat immediately. Let's be honest. No, I'm just messing. I'm just because I know he's gonna listen to this. So. Yeah. Come on. This is terrible.
It needs to be called out.
And why does it have Gamegenic on it?
Yeah. Well, if it's small enough, it doesn't bother me that much. If it's small enough. But
I don't mind if it's a Gamegenic mat that you buy that has it on it, but this isn't one that you're going to buy. Like,
yeah,
this is one that you win from an event.
But I like from their perspective, I can see like if Gamegenic is printing and producing these mats, you know, maybe they obviously have some kind of relationship with FFG because they both are owned by Asmodee. And so, you know, they're like, oh, let us get a little bit of advertisement on there, basically. Yeah. If it's small, like on the, I'm looking at it right now on my desk, like on the mat that I have, like it's small, it's in the corners next to the FFG logo. It makes sense where it is. It's just like the thing that you're focused on with this mat is the art. The thing that I'm focused on with the participant mat is the word participant.
Yeah.
And that I feel like is a huge miss.
Yes. 100%.
Especially because of the art that they use. They use the Executor, which is like, you know, iconic Superstar Destroyer ship. Like it deserves to be the center of attention, the focus of that mat. And it's just completely overshadowed by participant.
I agree. It's bad. Like
I can't wait to see the runner up that's gigantic, and then the finalist that's or whatever, you know, top 8. That's just like the entire center of the mat is just taken up by the words top 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So those are gonna be
on
fun.
Cards. When they stamp them with gold foil, it looks cool if it says like top 8 champion finalists, all that stuff. That's different than a mat.
But those are like they're also small, like in the corner of the art. You know, like it's okay. I feel like we got our point across here.
Yeah, I think so. One, fix the matting. I mean, the matting, the padding. I mean, the padding is like one of the biggest complaints I have for sure.
Yeah.
But there's just way too much stuff. There's way too many things on this.
Yeah, there's something in all 4 corners, and it's just like your brain goes everywhere on the mat trying to figure out what's going on.
It looks terrible. Absolutely,
it could be better.
I want to ask your opinion. What do you think about what is essentially nationals being called a qualifier? I feel like it changes.
Is that the regional qualifier? Is that one?
Regional qualifier.
That's essentially national championship.
In Europe. There's one in the US, which is essentially nationals, right?
Yeah.
Like, does calling it a qualifier make it feel like it's less? Like, would you rather have a mat that says regional qualifier champion or like national champion?
National champion, like yeah. I mean, national champion is a way cooler title for sure, but it feels like
even just a regional champion would be better.
That's so cooler. Yeah, rather than regional qualifiers champion. Regional qualifiers makes it seem like you're qualifying for regionals.
Right. I don't like the name that they went with.
Yeah, it like I understand the logic is like everything sort of qualifies you for the galactic championship, and like that's the thing, that's like the big event, the big kahuna, but it does make the other events feel less than they are.
Yeah. Yeah, unless they at some point are planning on doing like regional qualifiers, sector qualifiers, and then also like a nationals outside of all of this, like then that's fine. But we don't have that currently, so it feels like this is nationals and it's just being called a qualifier. And I don't know, I don't like the
I'm
name.
so confused by the names, to be honest. Like the planetary, sector, regional. It's like I don't. The hierarchy doesn't make a ton of sense to me, like intuitively.
I think it's supposed to be like Star Wars, like you on a planet you're having planetary qualifier, and then in the sector you're having a sector qualifier,
and then in the
region that has a bunch of sectors in it, and then there's the galactic universal championship. I think that's what they're going
I understand the like why, but I think unless you're super keyed in on that, it's confusing.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, that's enough roasting for now. Let's go to our next point and do some more roasting. Prestige cards.
This is what happens when you get me and Jay on the podcast only.
No. I think we agree prestige cards are cool.
Oh, prestige cards are awesome.
Prestige cards are awesome.
Prestige cards are awesome. Carbonite packs are super fun to open. I think there's a lot to like about them. And I've been critical. I'm still a little critical. I think will reserve people are judgment for like a month from now.
Yeah.
Because like this is the honeymoon phase for sure.
I think people are still high on opening Carbonite packs. Yes. And are going to soon realize, in my opinion, I don't know if
I don't think the value is going to hold.
Yeah,
I don't think the value is there. But they're very fun to open. So it's like there's some, I don't know. There's something there. There's I'll say it one last time. I think like that there's not a big enough base of established like high-end collectors for this game yet for this product type to make a ton of sense. And so that's where I think like the big like my big criticism is like who is the audience that's going to be paying $1,000 on secondary market for a serialized card, and are there enough of those people that these cards actually hold any amount of value? I don't think there is yet, but I could be proven wrong, and I hope I am.
Yeah. I mean, I totally I respect what they're doing. They didn't do this on the first set. Mm-hmm. They spent a year trying to get everything set up, and I mean, since day one, that they've been trying to cater to having 3 different communities: the casual, collector, competitive. Like they're trying to do all those things, and they obviously spent time figuring out how to do the collector packs well. And I think they did do them well. I think it was a great idea to have a prestige card in every single pack. I think I mentioned this on the last podcast. It makes them way more enjoyable to buy and open. I highly doubt you can go find a Carbonite box anywhere right now. I would not be surprised if they were all sold. So I think they did a good job, but I agree. I don't think I haven't seen many serialized cards being sold, like actually sold, and I don't know how many of them are selling for more than what a box costs at $300. Mm-hmm. So I'm holding reservation until a month, 2 months out to see what happens with them. But
I think like the measure of the success of this product type will be like, are they still making these like 2 years from now?
Yeah.
And like,
or even in a year.
Yeah, well, even in a year. Yeah. Like I think short term, like it's too hard to say like the actual impacts of something like this short term, but like long term, do we still have Carbonite packs next year, like a year from now?
Maybe it'll take 2 years. It might take 2 years
because their lead times are really long. So
and then like next set, people are going to buy them because it's going to be cool.
Yeah,
cool things,
cool force stuff, presumably.
Assuming that the next set is all force users and stuff.
I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that they are very successful, and I hope that the value holds and people want to actually buy these things next set and the set after and the set after.
I mean, I'll be buying a Carbonite box next set. I can tell you that.
Same. They're just fun to open, man. Like it feels like the showcase rate is pretty high too, which is pretty fun. So
yes, 100%. But prestige cards, rarities.
Yes, but prestige cards rarities don't matter at all, and that is weird. So, yeah. what do you think about that?
I guess I should question you. What is your complaint about this prestige card? Like, so for those who don't know, one, when you open Carbonite stuff, there is no difference in a prestige card, the actual card being a legendary card in the set versus a rare card in the set. You pull them at the same frequency. There's no change in pull rate, and they just maintain their rarity from their base card to their prestige card. Now, presumably, I know you have an issue with this. Presumably, I would expect that you would want them to have a prestige rarity, just like it would be a P, right?
That would make more sense to me. Like
okay.
In other similar games, not similar games, but like other TCGs, this type of card, I feel like I'll use Pokemon as an example. There's like the normal version of that card, and then there's like, the gold version of that same card, and it has a different rarity. It has like,
but that's within a single set, right? Like that's
within a single
within
expansion.
the actual set box.
Yes. So that is true. But like, I guess to me, it's like the prestige cards should have 3 rarities. It should be like prestige tier 1 is a rarity, prestige tier 2 is a rarity, and then serialized is a rarity. Because it doesn't matter what the actual rarity on the non-prestige version of that card is. So it's like Devastator is a legendary, but it doesn't actually matter in any way that the prestige version is a legendary, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah. So
So
it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like,
do you think that it would be worthwhile to create for this specific product? Do you think it would be worthwhile to create 3 new rarities, P1, P2, P3?
I don't even think that the card needs to have a rarity symbol on it.
Just
I
remove
think
it at all.
just remove it entirely because it doesn't matter. That's kind of my take.
I guess people would argue it matters because it's just it's just maintaining what it was. So like if
it maintains
you
parity between the other one, I guess, but but it like functionally it doesn't do anything. It doesn't tell you anything about the card.
About the specific variant of the card?
Yeah, I think that's right. Like my Devastator prestige card is just as rare as my Silver Angel prestige card. And so one of them saying uncommon or whatever, and one of them saying legendary doesn't actually do anything to tell me it. Like it doesn't give me any information other than that the normal version of Devastator is a legendary, and the normal version of Silver Angel is
that not worth?
I don't think that's useful.
Not value.
I don't think that's valuable.
Or like does not bring value to the person opening it.
I don't think so.
So you would just rather have no rarity on it.
Yeah. And I think I would carry that across to like other special products, like the con exclusive boxes that they sold last year. Those have rarities on those cards as well, and they don't mean anything either because it's a fixed product. You always get. I mean, just like slap the S rarity on them if you need to put a rarity on them, because it doesn't, like, a rarity tells you how frequently it shows up in a pack. That's a function of rarity and a rarity symbol, right? And the prestige cards and the other special cards don't actually follow that. They actually recently did this with the OP packs, where previously they'd have like, uncommons that were more rare than rares that you could find, I think. And now they have, like the legendary actually shows up less frequently in a pack than the rares that you can get.
Yeah, and in those things, the rares, like the rarity in the OP packs, are different than the actual cards from the set.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And that was even weirder.
So like Sabine, I think, was a rare in the OP packs when she was uncommon in the original set.
Right. Which I guess makes more sense if you actually consider what rarity is and means.
Well, I would argue that a prestige card is not a rarity. Especially since there's one in every pack. You're 100% guaranteed to pull a prestige card in every single pack.
Yeah. Yeah. So it shouldn't have a symbol.
Right. I would be fine with it having nothing. I don't think it really detracts from it.
No, I don't necessarily
over.
think it does either. I just think it doesn't make a lot of sense in it. Like, it can make certain prestige cards feel less interesting,
like pulling a rare versus pulling a legendary.
Yeah, so if there's like Houndstooth, for example, like that's an S rarity card. Like, does that feel different to pull as a prestige card if it has the S on it, or if it had an L on it if it was a legendary? Like some of the like Black One, right? It's like an uncommon, I think, or a rare. Like, I think that card is cool to pull as a prestige regardless of what the original card's rarity was. So I think it, like, I don't know. To me, there's not a lot of value in actually putting the rarity on it, and it might actually make cards seem less cool than they are, because like now you have, a U on the cool looking like Millennium Falcon card that is just happens to be an uncommon in the set, but is a really cool looking prestige card, where it, like, the perception is that, like, oh, this is less good than the legendaries that might be less cool.
I can get behind that. I can get behind pulling, like, for example, if what's like if Devastate was like an uncommon, like pulling that is a really cool card, but it says uncommon on it, so it feels like it's like you would much rather see an L on it than seeing a U.
Yeah,
I can get behind that.
Just perception wise, like, it feels less valuable because it has a symbol other than L on it.
I think that is the only argument that you have presented to me that feels like it's a good reason to just remove rarities from it.
All right. Well, either way, you're sold. So we got there eventually.
We did. All right. So that's prestige cards, and I would like to reiterate, I think that the collector boxes and prestige cards have been, like, for me, a home run. I think they're really cool.
Yeah, they're really cool. This is a very long segment on a very, like, specific niche point that probably only I care about. So,
but you're the target audience for these collector packs.
That's true.
Yeah, compared to probably 90% of what I would say play this game. They play this game because they play this game, not because they collect the cool Star Wars cards.
Fair.
I feel like 90%
listen to my opinion.
I feel like 90% of the base is players and not collectors. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It takes time to grow a collecting community. Base. We've only had 4 sets. Like, there's not chase cards from 10 years ago you're looking for stuff,
exactly.
So it takes time to do that. But yeah, for the market stuff, we'll have to look back in like a year, 2 years, see.
Yeah, we'll do a what's called a reaction video to all of our takes about these in a year and see how
I think
right or
one
wrong we were.
big thing will be how well they push something like Twin Suns, where there's an eternal format.
Yeah,
like these serialized cards from now in like 5 years when people are playing insane Twin Suns decks might be super valuable later.
Very, very good point.
But it depends on how many people, like Commander, how many people are playing Twin Suns or Eternal formats later down the road.
Yep.
All right, next up, we've got errata. So we have got the first Star Wars Unlimited errata. Now this is let me pull it up. I gotta find it. Here it is.
I freaked out when I first saw you message in our group chat like errata blah blah blah, and I was like, oh no, not again. Here we go again.
Here we go again. Now, this is not functional errata.
Yes,
but rather utilitarian errata for the rules guru, who is Ryan, one of the designers of the game. They made some changes to the wordings of specific cards, most of which aren't even played. Simply for just rules stuff. The cards act exactly the same. They just have some minor word changes on those cards. How do you feel about that?
I think that's totally cool. I have no problem with doing that. Like, my fear had come from like, oh, are they going to do functional like balance changes via errata? And I'm like, I hate. Like, playing previous FFG games and looking at your cards and the text doesn't say what the card actually does, like that, it's not a legitimate way to balance a physical card game.
Right.
Straight up. Like, it just doesn't work. And so I'm really glad that they didn't do that. This version of it, I'm totally cool with, because the card functions exactly the same as you think it would function. Just makes it more clear within the current rules how it actually works. So I'm good.
Nice. Yeah.
You got any other opinions?
I haven't read them all. I'm really curious if some of them are not functional changes there, but they are functional changes based on the changes in the rules. For example, it works exactly the same way it did before, but because of new rules changes, it would have operated differently, so they had to change it. Like, how are any of them like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw that they were like rules clarification things and not functional. I was like, cool, I don't need to look at them because I already know what the card does, and it just works better, I guess.
I should take a peek, but I'm not doing that right now. But I'm curious. Okay, so hear me out. What if it was the ruling for like destroying your own resources was messed up, and they were able to change Han to say your own, that you control, like Lando says? Is that a functional errata at that point, or is it a rules clarification errata?
That's an interesting question. Yeah. I guess it probably would be a rules clarification if to change the rules, and then, but then, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. What do you think?
I mean, if they change, it depends on what the rule change would be, right? Like, if they're making it to where you can't destroy your anything, your like, I don't think they can make a change like that. I'm just trying to argue a way for them to have changed.
Yeah,
how
have
works.
actual functional errata via rules change.
Yeah, I don't care about. I mean, none of these cards have played. And okay, so this is my question to you: was this even necessary? Like, did they have to do this, or could they have just done rules clarifications via like FAQ without having to do an errata?
Oh, that's a good question.
Could they have been like, no, this is how this card is intended to operate within the rules of the game, without having to do some kind of errata changes to cards wording?
Maybe.
Would that have been cleaner or worse?
I don't know. I'm notoriously not a rules guy, so like I barely read the cards half the time anyway. So
yeah, me too.
Just intuitive. Just I either know what it does or I don't. I play it wrong and then get corrected later. But I don't know. I think for the people who really care about the rules and really care about how things work, and like are those, judge types who like really want to know the ins and outs of how every interaction works, I think it is probably better that it's this way.
Fair.
I'm just not that type of person.
Okay. So if they did do a functional change to a card, you would not like it though, right?
No, please don't do that ever. And they mentioned in their live stream when they talked about this,
they're never going to do that.
They're not going to do that. And so I breathed a large sigh of relief.
All right. So there you have it. No errata from the words of FFG. They'll never do functional errata. But we did get some rules clarification erratas. I've tried reading some of them a while back, and I was like, I can't even tell what is different.
That's kind of where I was at. I was like, I looked at one or two of them, and I was like, I don't care. It's probably fine.
All right, so that is errata. Next up, we have some changes that came in just this Friday while we were streaming, I think. IDs, intentional draws, and the rules regulations for tournaments.
Yep.
They have changed it to where there is no longer double loss if you go to time. It is a draw, which is essentially 1 point to Gryffindor. Whatever that means, I don't know.
I think a win is normally 3 points. A loss would be, I would imagine, 0, and then a draw is 1 point. So it is worse than a win, but not as bad as a loss. and it's a lot better than a double loss.
Yeah. Do you agree with this change?
I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be possible to draw. Like that's where I'm at. I think that there should be tiebreakers, such that a draw is not possible within the rules. And we can talk about intentional draw later, but let's talk about first just
a draw. Hey, we're not in cahoots with each other.
Yeah, this is just the 1.4 draw versus a double loss.
Okay. Yeah. I would probably that's hard. I think I agree with your assessment.
So
do you want to should the rules and regulations of a tournament ever favor one deck archetype more than the other?
I think that regardless of what you want, I don't know if that's avoidable. I think in the double loss world, control was worse because more likely to go to time and get that double loss, especially if you're playing in a mirror. And in this version of it, it's
I think that's a little meta though. So
that much different.
If me and you sit down from each other and I'm playing control deck and you're playing a mid-range deck, if we go to time, we both lose. And in that vacuum, neither archetype is preferred.
That's fair.
It's a little meta to consider. All right, because you go to time, you're getting a double loss, so you don't want to play control. I think that's outside of just this vacuum of if we sit down to play. Whereas if it's a double draw or a draw for us, then neither archetype is favored. But if it's based on how much damage you have on base, then I think at that point, I would say
a more aggressive deck might be favored.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a Thork video where he kind of gave his thoughts on this, and I agree with what his suggestion was, which was basically in the top 8, you can't draw anyway.
100%. That's how Flesh and Blood does it. You play it out.
Yeah. Well, in the top 8, they have tiebreakers, and the tiebreakers are, I think, health remaining on base, and then whoever has initiative after that. If those are the rules in the top 8, why would those rules not just apply to the entire tournament?
Right.
That way, everybody's playing with one single set of rules throughout the whole event. And you have to just consider that in your decision making. I feel like that's, number one, way cleaner because it just applies one set of rules to everything. And number two, it eliminates the possibility of a draw, which I think is also better because there should be a clear winner in every match. So I would be really curious to hear why it is not that way currently.
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably.
And I also think it should be. Well, I want your opinion on this. I intuitively feel like it should be damage dealt rather than health remaining because bases have different health values. But I don't know. I've seen other opinions.
I agree with that too because I think that it the type of base you bring to the table shouldn't determine
your tiebreaker.
Your tiebreakers. The same way I think that no rule regulations for tournaments should favor one dark archetype over the other. But before we continue, to your point about it being the same throughout the tournament, I think one reason they may do that is because if you have a 500 player tournament and you don't have enough judges to go around to 50 different tiebreaker situations, then the logistics of that could probably get weird.
Maybe. Yeah.
Unless you just 100% trust the players at the table to take care of
that. They had that in Destiny though, right? It was they had a tiebreaker for every level. I think they had I think it was health left on your leaders or something like that, or
it was something weird.
Characters.
It was something weird.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but yeah, I feel like drawing is not necessary because tiebreakers are something that can be implemented. That as long as everybody's on the same page with what those tiebreakers are, which I mean, the same as any other rule, let players know ahead of time what those tiebreakers are, and everything should be fine, right?
Totally.
So yeah, I want to hear the logic of like, okay, why are there tiebreakers in the top 8, but there are not tiebreakers in the rest of the tournament? Like, why are they different? And maybe it is what you're saying, but I want to hear that from
FFG
organized play.
In my opinion, if it's top 8, you play it out.
Yeah,
I don't think you should have tiebreakers in top 8. That's how Flesh and Blood does it.
Unless you can go infinite, which is possible sometimes.
It shouldn't be possible.
Shouldn't be.
But if you can go infinite, then I don't know what you do in that situation.
Like you can, you just deck out. But I don't know. Resupply, is that the card?
Restock.
No, restock is a card. So I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about draws. I'd have to think about it more, but I think I agree that tiebreakers, I would be more down with having more tiebreakers than having more draws. But
yeah, let's talk about the intentional draw part.
Yeah, I think that is a whole different conversation.
Yeah. So explain what an intentional draw is for the people who don't know.
So if you sit down and you and your opponent decide to intentionally draw, you just both get a draw, and then you don't have to play.
Yeah. And so
what's the benefit of that, though?
The benefit of that is that one player doesn't lose. So you both get 1 point versus one person getting 3 and the other person getting 0. Mm-hmm. And if you're at the top tables of an event, let's say you're both X and 1
or X and O,
or like you can math it out. You can do the tournament math and basically say if we both drop, or if we both, if we draw, we're both guaranteed to be top 8. Whereas if we played this out, one of us could get knocked out of the top 8, basically, or whatever the cut is.
Mm-hmm.
So
how do you feel about that?
I think that's super scummy, super shady. I don't think it should be allowed, personally.
Yeah, I don't like intentional draws at all.
Because it prevents somebody else from bubbling up into the top 8. Like you're removing somebody else's opportunity because like not because you won and you did the thing that the tournament's asking you to do, is win games. You just didn't play.
Yeah.
It's like that movie War Games or whatever. Like the only correct move is not to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for a card game tournament, it just seems antithetical to what the whole point is about.
Yeah, I feel like it's really it feels kind of shitty that the people that go 5-0 and then just like I might as well, if I'm 4-1, I guess maybe you have a shot at bubbling in at the bottom of that, but like you have to go X1 to make top 8s now, which sucks. You're not going to go X2 and make a top 8.
And it also makes everybody else who played against you, it makes all their tiebreakers worse.
Yeah.
So you're affecting multiple people down the chain of the tournament.
Yeah. And then when like prizes are given out at top 64, top 128, top whatever, and it's like you end up going from like 60 to like 130 or something because of intentional draws. Or I mean, it's probably not going to be that huge, but I mean, even from like 62 to 65, and then you miss out on the top 64 prizes, like that sucks.
Yep.
So I don't fault anyone for like thinking this is better, especially if you're a hyper competitive person and you want to be able to go 5-0 and then intentionally draw last 2 rounds so you don't have to play and lock in. I get it. I just personally don't like that. You don't see football teams going in and wanting it at coin flip saying, all right, let's draw. They do draws in chess, so that would probably be somebody's argument. But I think that that's different. It's more like Marvel Snap, where both people recede at the same time because they don't want the chance of losing their points. We don't have a point system yet in Star Wars Unlimited. So I think chess players do that for different reasons that the Star Wars Unlimited would do intentional draws.
I even think that that's kind of scummy. Like you should lose points if you're going to lose.
Well, it's both players agreeing to a draw after playing,
I suppose,
because they don't want to. Okay, neither of them wants to.
If that's the case, if it's after playing,
yeah, they start playing. It's not before. That
makes more sense to me.
It's they see the board, they see the lines,
and like both of them are like, oh, I could lose this, but I don't want to take the chance. there's at least a little bit of
it's like it's a perfect analogy is Marvel Snap, where both players end up doing the late retreat.
They do the retreat,
and then neither of you lose stuff. Like that's the same thing in my opinion.
Yeah, that's more acceptable to me than just like, okay, we sit down at the table, we both realize, hey, if we don't play this game, we're both better off.
Yeah,
like that just feels bad.
100%.
Like the whole point of a tournament is to play these games and see who wins.
Yeah.
So that's my
so I'm against intentional draws. I think there should be no draws. I don't think double loss is the answer either. I think it should be tiebreakers. Now, I've argued the whole time that it shouldn't promote one archetype over the other, but I don't see a world where having tiebreakers doesn't promote one archetype over the other. The same way that like the meta analysis of having a double loss makes you not want to play control, because that's just the way it works. You're way more likely to go to time, and it sucks.
with a slower deck.
So I don't know.
Yep.
I'm not paid to make these decisions, so I don't have to live with the ramifications of them.
Very true. Well, all we have to do is comment on them.
Let us know in the comments what you think about intentional draws, what you think the right decision would be for something like tiebreakers, intentional draws, tiebreakers throughout the entire tournament instead of just the top 8. Give us your thoughts on all of that stuff in the comments, because I'm very interested to see what the community thinks about it.
Same.
So what else we got on the docket today, Coach?
Those are all the notes that I had written down that we had to go off of. So I see one note here. D House is trash.
Oh, who wrote that?
Who wrote that?
And it just happens to line up on a podcast that David isn't here to defend himself.
Crazy that happened.
D House is trash. You heard it here, folks. It's written down in our show notes. Join our Discord if you haven't joined it by now, because I mentioned this earlier. Join our Discord, like and subscribe to our channel. Look out for more live streams coming in the near future. And make sure to comment about any of the topics we discussed today and what your opinions are on those topics, because I am dying to hear. But that is it for the Conversation Lab.
You said it right.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.